hello, and welcome to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here to talk about all the hottest thing in the world. We love professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside the ring, backstage curtain calls, rumors. We talk about superstar active, inactive statuses, injury updates. It's the hottest wrestling show to watch on YouTube and Twitch. Basically, make sure you check us out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and, basically any social media platform, because you're going to get the hottest news. You're going to get the greatest, breathtaking, breaking news updates in the world of professional wrestling, from WWE to AEW to TNA to Ring of Honor. If it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here and discuss it in thorough analysis on this show on the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. First and foremost, guys, it is Monday. Monday. We are all dreading Monday. I know a lot of you guys, even myself. It was a good weekend. It was a good weekend of wrestling. We had, obviously a huge night on Friday Night Smackdown. We had Saturday filled with TNA Bound for Glory, which was amazing. It was TNA's hottest PLE, which stands for Premium Live Event of the Year, kind of like WrestleMania for WWE fans. And on Sunday, of course, we had NXT's Halloween Havoc. So without further ado, let's, we have a lot to discuss today. On tap for you today, we're going to start off with our SmackDown review. Then we're going to talk about our WWE Monday Night Raw preview. It's happening right now. Already, I have acknowledged that it's already aired on the East Coast. Obviously, I'm on the West Coast. I'm still a schmuck who pays for cable, so I haven't recorded. But I have not checked a single shred of social media. No TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook. So I just like to go into my pre-recorded show. Absolutely oblivious. The unpredictable nature of wrestling is just that's the reason why you pay for cable. That's the reason why you pay for pay-per-views and stuff like that. So I can't wait to get into that. Our third segment, we're going to get into some NXT Halloween Havoc. I'm going to give you my analysis and overall review. Our fourth segment, we're also going to talk about TNA Bound for Glory. We're going to talk about that. And then our fifth and final segment, in a recent, not even an interview, like in a recent stint in terms of wrestling news media, former WWE Monday Night Raw announcer Samantha Irving left abruptly and is now kind of voicing her opinion of exactly, what made her leave, why, she was pushed to the brink of, breaching her contract, why maybe she decided to, follow her fiance Ricochet and maybe perhaps go to AEW. Maybe, she also chose to pursue her dream in a musical career. So we're going to dig into that. But before we do any of that, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that super chat if you have a burning question or hot take in terms of the world of professional wrestling here at the GSMC Sports Network. We are 1,010% all ears. Make sure you get whatever you have to feel, or whatever you do feel, get it off your chest. And, don't be shy and drop your thoughts inside that chat. We obviously want to make sure your voice is, your voice is heard. You guys are a part of the mix. This is my podcast just as much as it is your podcast. This is Wrestling Podcast. The best thing about wrestling fans is is that we can come together, come to a consensus. Sometimes not all the time, but it is fun. That's what, talking sports is all about, and having, disagreements. It's, you don't want to walk into like a bar or a group of friends or wrestling fans and be like, oh, I agree with whatever you say. Oh, whatever you say is right. Oh, we agree on everything all the time. Like, nobody wants to hear that. Like, you know what I mean? Best thing about talking about professional wrestling or sports in that matter, whether if it's the NFL, Major League Baseball, hockey, just a little bit of a discrepancy is, or disagreement is obviously, well encouraged, because, it just makes for better banter among friends. And I have the overall feeling that when friends argue and you're able to come to an agreement, or you're able to, just kind of let things lie, and you're like, you know what, I don't agree with you, but guess what, overall, you're my friend. So we're just going to let it, we're just going to let it ride. Just let it ride. All right. So, we're going to talk about that. If we really, really, really want to make sure your comment, question, or concern gets noticed on air, why not use that super chat? It's that $sign below the chat box right there. Whatever you guys put inside that box is going to be featured on the show 1,010%. Absolutely anything, guys. Just, just know that whatever you put in there and how much you ever donate, obviously, thank you in advance, 1,010%. But obviously, whatever you guys put in there is going to help our show. We have an array of an amazing podcasters who have passion, who love bringing you guys the hottest sports content that honestly that you guys love to, that you guys love to have every single day. You turn on ESPN or Fox Sports West or Fox Sport, obviously in Southwest, you know what I mean? Fox Sports West. Uh, you kind of get the reason why you kind of pay for the damn thing, right? But from the GSMC Sports Network, we are absolutely 110% free. Make sure you guys like, follow, subscribe on our YouTube channel. You guys can get free sports content. We are super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here on the GSMC Sports Network. So thank you once again. Remember to hit those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together we will make sure this podcast is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Once again, if the super chat is not your thing, you can go ahead and hit up the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Just remember to Superman punch that like a subscribe button to the show. Follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity, 1,010%. But of course, in terms of talking sports, it's inevitable. Criticisms are bound to happen. It's okay. It's okay. Feedback is a gift, 1,010%. Just remember to type however you feel inside that chat box so we can have a nice little back and forth conversation. It just makes for, a more interactive, awesome podcast. All right, without further ado, we got our first segment. We got our WWE Smackdown review. All in all, I thought it was a great episode. There was a lot of, obviously, a lot of setup toward WWE's PLE Crown Jewel, which is happening on Saturday in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, one of the biggest events of the year internationally, of course. And it's I like how they're bringing out that belt. They're bringing out the king, so to speak, the champion of Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, the Crown Jewel champion, and they're bringing it out in this big giant case. It seems like they're kind of loading on a machine gun or something like that, and it's being handled like it's a weapon of mass destruction. And it's crazy, but obviously it's there's obviously a method to the madness. It is World Wrestling Entertainment, keyword entertainment right there. It's just kind of bring things together, which is, exactly what you want wrestling fans to have at the end of the day, kind of like a sense of togetherness, especially in terms of the WWE, the World Wrestling Entertainment. And then you saw Randy Orton come out. Randy Orton came out, obviously the legend killer, the multi-time WWE champion comes out. He claims that the new CEO of WWE, Triple H, Paul Levesque, is protecting Kevin Owens. He's protecting Kevin Owens. Triple H obviously gets upset, talking about, I'm not protecting Kevin Owens, but I'm protecting you from Kevin Owens, kind of leaving Randy Orton like a little clueless, like what exactly is going on. I guess Kevin Owens really and honestly feels like, he's sincerely hurt. Ever since you kind of had this thing going down between Roman Reigns and his bloodline, and then Cody Rhodes is the one that kind of team up with him. He's pissed. After what the bloodline has did to Kevin Owens, it's just kind of like a stab in the back. Like, you know what I mean? Be like, if you had a friend, let's just say perhaps you were in the world of professional wrestling, you had a friend that was, his career was put on the line. People, beat him down and kicked him down. And then at the end of the day, your best friend, the only person that you trust within the industry, ends up tag teaming with them a couple of months down the line. It doesn't feel good. And ultimately, it does kind of banters a bad taste in the mouth of your so-called quote unquote friend. But Kevin Owens right now is he's heading toward a talent push, and that's nothing really surprised. Right now, him and WWE are structuring out a contract. Nothing's really been reported. I know WWE made an offer about 3-4 months ago. AEW refused to match that offer, leaving Kevin Owens, you know, hey dude, if you don't sign with WWE, or if you don't really take this storyline that we're presenting, that we're kind of kicking on the dirt of your cleats here, if you don't pick it up, guess what? You don't have a future. You don't have a future. You know what I mean? Maybe something will go along the lines in the independent wrestling circuit. But ever since Tony Khan, the president of All Elite Wrestling, accumulated, promotions from the CMLL to Ring of Honor to New Japan Professional Wrestling, close to Stardom. you kind of have to, you kind of have one wrestling conglomeration against another. And the best thing for Kevin Owens to do, obviously, is sign a contract. But after everything that's going down on WWE Smackdown, with the Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, I ultimately, feel like the Kevin Owens character, I feel like they pushed him way too far heel. Like, you have the good guys. You have the good guy, you have the bad guys, and there's that also the in the middle, blurring the lines between good and bad. I ultimately feel like that's exactly what WWE should have done with Kevin Owens. I don't like it that he turned his back on Randy Orton. I, semi dislike the fact that he turned his back on Kevin Owens and attacked him. What's going to happen once when Kevin Owens basically loses his match to Cody Rhodes? If he loses the match to Cody Rhodes, like, it's to the point where you kind of think to yourself, you ponder as a WWE fan or just a member of the wrestling universe, and you're thinking to yourself, you're like, you know what was that for? The best thing about professional wrestling, the thing that makes it, most appealing to the fans is not that shock factor. It's not that shock factor where you have tag team partners turn against each other, where you just have that random, like, oh my God, why did he do that? Why did he do that? What are you thinking? Of course, for a couple months, yeah, it might work. But at the end of the day, it being marketable, it's not really. It's not really a plus. It's more like a minus. It's not really a positive influence on your wrestling promotion for someone to just to randomly kind of go off key. Ultimately, kind of have him burn bridges amongst former wrestling allies and just be like, all right, because once when you kind of create a heel, if he's not a part of a faction, then he's essentially on his own. So now you have Kevin Owens on his own. How's that going to work out? Obviously that was Kevin Owens beforehand, and the storyline has been repeated and repeated and repeated, over and over and over again. And, it hasn't really come to fruition. Doesn't really seem like it makes sense. Doesn't really seem like there's any like nuance factors in terms of who exactly are you trying to promote? Are you trying to promote Kevin Owens to be a future heel, to be a future singles main event star, or are you just trying to create that next bad guy that within 2 or 3, if you're lucky, 4 months down the line, you just get trash booking, you get POS like matches on Raw or Smack, and for me, it just needs to make sense. So I thought overall, it was an interesting booking. It was kind of crazy. Next, we had the Game 7 match between Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. Obviously, you had that special guest referee make that they pay dividends. When it comes to a special guest referee in WWE or in wrestling, it's kind of an unwritten rule that something bad's going to happen. Someone's going to screw somebody over, and then you had the WWE United States Champion, special guest referee LA Knight come out, the winner of the Game 7, saying that I'm the better out of these people. He BFT'd blunt force trauma. That's his finishing move. He BFT'd everybody, every competitor inside that match. Next, we have a promo between Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, obviously feeling left out. You had Naomi, ultimately choosing over Candice LeRae as her tag team partner. The inaugural WWE Women's Speed Champion, Candice LeRae, she was teaming up with Nia Jax, and something that kind of, sparked a lot of questions in the world of wrestling. Obviously, me as a wrestling fan since the moment I could walk, I was wondering why LeRae was not representing and not having her WWE Speed Women's Championship around her waist. It was nowhere to be seen. And this isn't the first time. This is the second. This is the second time. WWE has been basically burdened by the fact that they have not had a mid-card title within their women's division on Monday Night Raw, on WWE, on Friday Night SmackDown, and that's something that's been hurting them. And the fact that you don't have her coming out with her title being proud of it, that's kind of a red flag. Once again, I feel like the women's division on NXT is absolutely stellar. On Monday Night Raw, it needs a little bit of work. On Friday Night SmackDown, it needs a lot of work. Just kind of getting this vibe from Candice LeRae, and she's a well-fought superstar. She's kicked arses around, around the wrestling promotion, getting to the point where she is right now. She was promoted by WWE NXT quite some time ago, but of course, during the Vince McMahon storyline era, where they weren't really necessarily promoting superstars that were under his like good graces of umbrellas, it was, I don't know. It sucks for Candice LeRae. I ultimately feel like WWE was like, all right, let's introduce a new belt. You know, WWE personnel, wrestlers like Bret Hart, The Undertaker, Drew McIntyre have constantly been talking to wrestling news media, being like, hey, to be honest, having a women's mid card title like the WWE Women's Intercontinental, the WWE Women's United States Championship would do so much good for not just the promotion, for not just the women's, division of professional wrestling, but just overall, just for the fans, just for the fans to kind of get this more of a creative, angle to have these women who are doing so much well inside the world of professional wrestling, inside that sports circle where they're going out there, giving everything they have, giving absolutely everything they have in like 8 to 10 minute matches. They definitely deserve a lot more love. They definitely deserve another title. And you have Candice LeRae come out. She's the inaugural women's speed champion. I would be, even if I got that championship, I'd be so happy. I'd be, wrapping it around my waist constantly every single time. I have a television spot, but then 2 times in a row where Candice LeRae doesn't spot it out. That's just sus. That sucks. That's terrible. I don't like that booking by WWE. Maybe perhaps they have something behind it. Me personally, I was like, I feel like if you're introducing the title and if you want wrestling fans to tune in to WWE Speed every single Wednesday on your, on the WWE's Twitter account, you kind of have to make it worth your while. You kind of have to have that title being kind of prestigious. You see the champion walking around like they own the world and stuff like that. And that's exactly what they should do, just so people can be like, oh crap, man, who's going to dethrone this guy? Who's going to be the next champ? It just it's the storylines. It's the storylines. It also has a lot of, wrestling fans, putting their hands around it, being like, I could trust this superstar. I want to root for this superstar. But if you're like, oh, they're the WWE inaugural Speed Women's Champion and the title belt isn't around their waist, what's the point of even watching Speed? But that's just, obviously, it's my opinion. I'm the host of this show. Obviously, you guys have any disagreements or anything like that, hit it up in the chat 1,010%, and we can discuss about it. All right, next we have a triple threat. Well, we have a quote unquote match made for WWE Crown Jewel, a triple threat match for the United States Championship. Nick Aldis, WWE Smackdown general manager, was super upset of the way the LA Knight kind of stuck his nose in the Carmelo Hayes's and excuse me, and Andrade's business. So now we're gonna have a triple threat match. Ultimately, kind of, it's I kind of think this is a I feel like this has been in the making for quite some time. You've had these three superstars kind of, flutter and kind of float around each other in terms of storylines and bookings. So it's about time that this is going to be made. This contest of who's the best, who deserves to hold this United States Championship is going to be finally decided. And I like it. I like it. I feel like Nick Aldis, he painted a good picture here. All right, next we have Gunther and Cody Rhodes come face to face. Basically, you had Gunther come out of the gate being like, "Hey, Cody, what do you want to talk about?" Of course, kind of coining Cody Rhodes' catchphrase there. And Gunther once again just mentions to Cody Rhodes how he's making things so much more personal than it needs to be. He says he's been the workhorse champion inside WWE. Cody Rhodes, obviously, super frustrated with what Gunther has to say and attacks first. Ludwig Kaiser, comes out to aid his partner Gunther of Imperium. Then of course you had Randy Orton, the Legend Killer, come out to aid Cody Rhodes. And at the last, you had a what is that? Oh, gear manager. We had a fatal four-way match. We had we're gonna have Damage Control, Lash Legend, and Jakara Jackson, Chelsea Green, and Bianca Belair next week on WWE Friday Night SmackDown, which I feel like I feel like that it's like main event kind of worthy there, but I know once when women, travel to Saudi Arabia and stuff like that, like I know it's I'm not trying to, throw shade or anything like that. But when it comes to women, dressing in, you see how women's wrestlers, you see their outfits. Sometimes it's not, culturally accepted. And of course it's not, it's not for me, an American, a fan of WWE wrestling to be stubborn. And I'd be like, oh, that's stupid. This and that's just their culture, and that's something that that's something that has to be. Finally, we have the main event. We have a tag team championship qualifier match. Machine Gun. Motor City Machine Guns defeats DIY. You had the Bloodline enter and come out into the fray, basically saying that Motor Machine Guns have no chance. But then, Nathan Shelley, also, Chris Sabin, they're ready to fight now. So they challenged for the matchups. So we have an impromptu WWE tag team title match on Friday Night SmackDown. And then you saw Jimmy Uso get involved. You saw Roman Reigns come out at the end of the day. Then you saw Jey Uso, Yeet, the former WWE Intercontinental Champion, come out to, pay dividends. Motor City Machine Guns are able to dethrone the Tongans, Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga. And, I feel like on WWE SmackDown, it was so much. There was so much tonight. I feel like SmackDown needs to go back, not go back, but they need to go to 3 hours. They need to go to 3 hours. And, once when WWE went off air, it was pandemonium. It was crazy. You saw Jey Uso, you saw Jimmy Uso, you saw Roman Reigns, the original Tribal Chief, take the ring, and of course they put their index finger, pointed it high up in the air, being like, "We are still the ones." And it happened off the air, and not a lot of people got that. Obviously, if you're if you're subscribed to WWE on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, you guys probably got a showing of what exactly happened once when WWE SmackDown ran off air. But it was a good one. It was a good one. All in all, WWE SmackDown, I feel like it's a must watch. And, make sure you tune into that. But before we move on to our next segment, our WWE Monday Night Raw preview, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Obviously, the hottest wrestling show in the world of entertainment is going to come back to you in about 25 seconds.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here to talk about the greatest thing in the world is professional wrestling. All the action inside and outside of the ring, backstage curtain calls, rumor, and drama. We talk about, superstar, inactive statuses, injury updates. We talk about, obviously contract negotiations, extensions, and new signings from promotions from WWE to AEW to the GCW to the NWA to New Japan Professional Wrestling to the CMLL. If it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show. So make sure you guys tune in. Obviously, we just kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick. We had our WWE Friday Night SmackDown review, and now we're going to talk about our WWE Monday Night Raw preview. So, but before we get into any of that, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that super chat, those super thanks, those super stickers, whether if you have a burning question you guys want to be answered, or if you got a hot take in terms of the world of professional wrestling. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity, 1,010%. But obviously, if you guys have anything that differs, we are all ears. We want to make sure you guys feel like you are part of the show. Make sure you guys feel like you're part of the mix. Don't be shy. Drop your thoughts inside that chat. And if you really want to make sure your comment, question, or concern gets noticed on air, why not use that super chat? It's that $sign below that chat. Sorry, excuse me, that, whatever to be guaranteed to be featured on the show. It's going to be talked about. Maybe if it's hot and juicy enough, it could be absolutely debated about. You can get a lot of, interesting, feedback from fans and stuff like that. You can also get, some potential feedback that honestly I would, you love 1,010%. So, obviously, it's going to be great. And before we move on, I just want to, just want to mention thank you guys so much for tuning into our show. And just we are nothing without you guys. We are absolutely nothing without you guys. We are super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here daily on the GSMC Sports Network. So go ahead and send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together we will make sure this podcast is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Once again, if the super chat not your thing, go ahead and hit up the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Just remember to Superman punch that, like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show, follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity, 1,010%. So just remember to, let's just make it happen. All right, let's go to move on to our second segment. But before we do that, I just want to, I just got to take a quick commercial break. Obviously, kind of, have something to deal with right quick. I'll be right back. All right, we're back, and I was just realizing that I had to adjust my power outlet. Other than that, I would have randomly like poof off the air. Just gotta have some power. You know what I mean? So without further ado, we're gonna talk about our WWE Monday Night Raw preview. It's gonna be sent. It's gonna be really, really good. I can't wait to watch it. You have all these exciting superstars that you tune in every Monday night to watch these guys do what they do best. It's entertain us. Also, blur the lines between fiction and reality, what we're seeing before our faces, not necessarily totally fiction, but then again, not necessarily total reality. That's the reason why a lot of, fans love professional wrestling. That's definitely the reason why I really, really love professional wrestling ever since I was a kid. So, so let's talk about it. We have WWE Monday Night Raw, back to the Giant Center in Hershey, Pennsylvania. It's the final Monday Night Raw before the WWE Crown Jewel Premium Live event. Tonight we're gonna have Selena Vega take on Ivy Nile. Last week you saw Zelina Vega, kind of stop Ivy Nile from distracting, superstars and the referee for American Made, obviously Chad Gable and the Creed brothers to pick up the victory against the LWO. I feel like this match is going to be, just kind of a foreshadow. I feel like it's a foreshadow. I ultimately don't feel like the LWO is going to move on to fight. The Judgment Day for those WWE World Tag Team titles. And I feel like they're gonna take on American Made. I feel like their next feud is going to be pretty juicy. Can't wait to see what's gonna happen as well. I can't wait to see if The Miz comes out and addresses, last week on Monday Night Raw, what happened between the Final Testament being attacked by this new Wyatt Six faction, this dark, ominous horror, with Halloween basically tomorrow. Uh, basically Halloween in terms of Monday Night Raw is tonight because you don't have a Monday Night Raw on Thursday, obviously. So I feel like tonight's going to be filled with, a lot of, you're going to see in terms of production, like a lot of, spooky Halloween themed kind of, cut to commercial breaks. You're going to see maybe a lot of Halloween themed outfits by the wrestlers and stuff like that. And, I'm excited to see, the White Six nail an amazing, just scary, horrific promo. I definitely feel like as a fan, at this point, I feel like you're kind of owed that because once when the White Six came out, they started off so hot, and then I feel like they've kind of cooled down, and then they had their match with the American Made, they were hot, and then now I feel like within the past, 2 or 3 weeks, they've kind of cooled down once again. I feel like something's got to give. Something's got to give. I want to see that kind of, horror movie anticipation. I want to see, that cliffhanger that when you watch a movie back in the early 1980s, like when you see Halloween, when you see Jason Voorhees or Freddy Krueger, like it's just something that like you're dying to watch. It's just something that you're like, don't take your eyes off the screen because the moment you turn away, then bam, the killer's gonna be right there, and it's just like, I'm just kidding. No, I'm moving on. But no, I definitely hope for something cool to happen. Next, we're gonna have Sheamus. Sheamus taking on Ludwig Kaiser. Both these guys honestly have a huge potential of becoming competitors for Braun Breaker's new WWE Intercontinental Championship. Recently, he won it last week on Monday Night Raw, defeating main event Jey Uso, obviously thanks to the bloodline, kind of simulating him, kind of sucking, kind of absorbing him. He didn't necessarily want to invoke his name inside this bloodline storyline, but Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and the Tongans, Tamatonga and Tagaloa, kind of forced his hand. So at the end of the day, I do feel like Jey Uso is going to get a shot down the line. It's going to be interesting to see if he comes out and addresses the WWE Universe, saying that he deserves a rematch. And it's going to be crazy to see if Braun Breaker, comes out tonight and just tries to act all cocky. Because at the end of the day, I feel like he doesn't have the room to be cocky. Because the only reason why he did win was because of the Tunkins, was because of Solo Sikoa, and of course because Jacob Fatu laying that backdrop on that announce table right in front of the WWE announcers. So it should be crazy. Should be interesting to find out what's going to happen. Next, we have Dominic Mysterio. Last week on Monday Night Raw, you saw Carlito of the Judgment Day go out, try to prove his worth to the Judgment Day. He was called out by Liv Morgan and Ricardo Rodriguez. He went to Adam Pearce saying, hey, my man Dominic Mysterio deserves a chance at the World's Heavyweight Championship. And, Adam Pearce was like, you know what? You got it. You got a shot. You got a shot next week against a former world heavyweight champion. It should be interesting. A lot of speculations. Maybe, John Cena. Maybe perhaps John Cena could happen. Could not happen. Last night, Hershey, Pennsylvania. you know, you had NXT there as well. Maybe you have somebody like The Undertaker. Obviously, these are really like out of the box thinking. But the thing at the end of the day, and I don't think Brock Lesnar is going to come out because he was never like a world champion. Or I think he was. I think he was a former world champion. Don't quote me on that. The only thing that really makes sense is Damian Priest. Obviously, a familiar foe. I feel like if Damian Priest comes out to, kind of confront Dominic Mysterio and everything that he's doing with this new Judgment Day, I feel like that's the one thing at the end of the day that kind of makes sense. I was thinking Rey Mysterio, but, Rey Mysterio has a tag team match tonight, and we're going to talk about that right now. We have the World Tag Team #1 Contenders match. We have the New Day against Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee representing the LWO, and we have the War Raiders. You know, this is going to be an interesting match because I know there has to be a lot to give. You have the Judgment Day that's kind of on the heel side. The OWO, like I said, I think they have a future bout with. I think they have a future bout with. Damn it! What was I just saying? Damn it! American Made, Chad Gable's stable. And the War Raiders recently came back. They're absolutely dominant. I think a match between them and the Judgment Day would just, be them just kind of flexing and kicking ass. Maybe winning the tag team titles. Maybe perhaps that's the way to go. But I know the New Day is currently trying to do whatever they can to win the tag team titles. And, you kind of saw it reflected within the last couple of weeks how Xavier Woods is trying to influence his partner, Kofi Kingston, telling him basically, dude, like, hey, if you want to become a champion, if you want to stay champion, if you want to remain successful, uninjured, sometimes you have to walk away, dude. Sometimes you have to walk away. Sometimes you can't always do the right thing. Sometimes you can't back up people like R-Truth, or when they were trying to help Jey Uso or whatever like that. Like it's not the same thing. And it's going to be interesting to find out what exactly their character development's going to turn to today. But I'm all for it. And of course, we have one final confrontation between Gunther and Cody Rhodes before Crown Jewel. And, will Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed be fighting all over Hershey, Pennsylvania tonight? Should be interesting. The way they were kind of represented last week on Monday Night Raw, they couldn't get their hands off each other. It seemed like this match is going to be the must watch match heading toward Crown Jewel. So, as a fan, I'm excited. I can't wait to see it. All right, guys. So, hey, do not go anywhere. We're going to jump on into our third segment. We have our NXT Halloween Havoc review. So, grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and we will be back after this commercial break. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Right, and we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday. Every Monday, I'm just kidding. Monday Night Raw preview or Friday Night Smack. I'm just kidding. Moving on. If it makes major news in our world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show 1010%. Obviously, if you guys have any questions or absolutely any hot takes in the world of professional wrestling, go ahead and hit it up in our chat box right there. There's no wrong answer. Makes the podcast a lot better. It also helps GSMC Sports Network keep the lights on, keep those, those donations coming in. Obviously, thank you in advance. We are absolutely super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here daily on the GSMC Sports Network. So, once again, thank you. So, but before we do anything more, I want to remind you guys what we talked about right quick. We had our WWE Friday Night Smackdown review. We had our WWE Monday Night Raw preview. I know it has already aired on the East Coast. I have it recorded. I'm still one of those schmucks who pays for cable. I got it recorded. I've not checked a single shred of social media. No TikTok, no Instagram, no Facebook or anything like that. So I'm gonna go in here blind. I'm gonna go in here unpredictable. Can't wait to watch it. Monday Night Raw, the Monday Night Raw before Crown Jewel. So yeah, can't wait to watch it. So without further ado, let's talk about some NXT Halloween Havoc. Um, let's review that. So, obviously, before that, obviously hit up the tips and donations link. We love you guys. Go into Superman Punch, that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show, follow the network here, the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity, 1010%. So don't be afraid. Don't, be part of the show. All right, so we have a WWE NXT Halloween Havoc review. First and foremost, I gotta be honest, the way Gigi Doling opened up the introduction from Halloween Havoc. I thought it was great. It was nice to kind of set up, this horror movie like film. I don't know if any of you guys really watched, the Rocky Horror Picture, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Sorry, excuse me, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Obviously, like once when you turn. For me, growing up, I watched this. I watched Bravo. Is Bravo still a thing? Is that still a TV channel? I'm not too sure. I watched Bravo, and it was like, they gave us basically the scariest moments in Halloween movie history, in horror movie history. And, you had kind of had like, the introduction, the host had to have that same dark, like feeling, that ominous glow that could ultimately kind of create the mood. And, Gigi Dolan, I thought, did a really good job. I definitely liked it when she came out. I wasn't expecting it. Like, you saw, like, a bunch of, like, scary masks and stuff like that. Like, I was watching I was watching Sunday Night Football, and then I flipped to the NXT pay-per-view, and like, my wife was like, "Oh, why are you watching that? It's like, horror movie, so scary. Like, why are you inviting that bad juju, those bad spirits into your soul, where like the devil can come get, like, you know what I mean, like stuff like that." And I'm like, I don't know. It just seemed like it kind of set a mood. It created just an ambiance that ultimately I thought was pretty badass. So, got to credit, obviously throwing flowers to Gigi Doling for doing that and NXT. All right, the first match we have on the card, we have Tony D'Angelo defending his WWE North American Championship against Oba Femi. We had, overall, we had a tables, ladders, and scares match. I thought it was a nice revenge for Tony D'Angelo. Overall, I thought it was a great match. Definitely give it like a C or like a B minus. I thought it was I thought it was a great match. Had a lot of angst. Had a lot of, violence because Tony D'Angelo was trying to, set it straight for his family. But then it seemed like at the end of the match that, you have that hero that's going to be, tied down by zip ties, and he's forced to watch his family and friends be absolutely destroyed. First and foremost, I'm excited to see this new era of the North American Championship competitors kind of come in fruition here. Like, you know what I mean? Now we're gonna see people like, Ethan Page come after the NXT World North American Championship. We're gonna see Wrestli once again, putting his nose into it. And you know what? Without somebody like Obafemi, which is kind of crazy, I guess. Reports say that he's going to be heading toward a brand promotion, which, him on Raw would be badass. Would be so cool. On SmackDown, it'd be badass. So, you kind of have, one side badass, the other side badass. At the end of the day, it would be badass to promote this guy. I feel like, he's moving off from NXT. I feel like at the end of the day, no one's going to take him down. Well, of course, besides, John of NXT, Tony D'Angelo. But overall, I thought this match was decent. I loved how, I love the storyline. I love the storytelling of this match. You had that horror movie type character. You had the killer, or so to speak, the slasher, which was Obafemi. He was brutalizing the hero Tony D'Angelo's family and friends right in front of him, just for them all to come together. I don't know if any of you guys watched, back in the day with Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy Krueger, where you would have where all the kids or the teenagers came together to take him down, and it was like a huge breath fresh air. Or if you watch, Jason Lives, Friday the 13th Part 6, where you had we had the hero Tommy Jarvis, coming up with the kid with the cop's daughter to just like take him down. Like it was that's exactly what this horror movie film was kind of like made. And I love the storytelling from this match, and I thought it was ultimately pretty badass. All right, next we have Stephanie Bakura teaming up with Julia. Both of them, international stars in terms of wrestling, taking on Cobra Jade and the NXT Women's World Champion Roxanne Perez. I loved the end of the match. I thought it was great. I felt like, you should have had Vicure and Julia win this match because these girls have not recently, stepped their way up to becoming single superstars. Shawn Michaels, the CEO of NXT, Harper Kid Shawn Michaels, said in an interview on the Busted Open podcast, basically saying that you know, WWE's kind of taking it easy with Fakir and Julia, trying to establish communications, trying to knock to, these communication barriers. And we're not trying to, let it affect WWE NXT bookings. And I feel like overall he's done a great job. I feel like he's done a really, really good job, with these girls. This match, you didn't really see any miscues. I didn't really see any like crazy botches or anything like that. Just the regular national wrestling match that happens. So, like obviously that's inevitable sometimes. But I thought overall this match ran actually pretty damn smoothly. Roxanne Perez. I thought overall she looked kind of weak, which didn't really rub me the right way because, Roxanne Perez, obviously, she's your NXT World Champion. And of course, at the end of the match, you had Zarya come out and basically show that she's going to be, contesting for that NXT Women's Championship. So once again, kind of kind of leaving it up in the air, like, you know what I mean? But overall, you have Stephanie McCure, you have Julia, you have Zarya. That just means for me, at least in my perspective in the world of professional wrestling, you have three up, three down. And what I mean by that, I mean when WWE Raw hits Netflix, they're gonna need some new faces. They're gonna need some new faces, 1,010%. And, I feel like Roxanne Perez is going to do it. She's going to be one of those faces. The other faces, I'm not too sure. Maybe Kehlani Jordan. You recently, obviously we're going to talk about it next. But, you've seen her drop the title. You've seen, who's the other NXT girl that's doing really, really well? Soruka. Soruka could definitely make her way up to WWE Monday Night Raw. And it's just it's a possibility, but of course, you can see Jakara Jackson, their last legend, make it up there as well, Femina 4. So that could possibly be a future booking as well. But I don't know. I felt like this was a way to kind of introduce this new era of wrestling. I know that I think it was Vic Joseph. I think it was Vic Joseph who said that this is the future of NXT wrestling, the future four horsemen, and Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, Julia, and Stephanie McCure. That could definitely be the next four horsemen of NXT of women's division. So can't wait to watch that. I think it's gonna be great. All right, next we have Rich Holland taking on Andre Chase in an ambulance match. This match, I gotta be honest, I hated it. I didn't like it. I love the Freddy Krueger, sweater from Andre Chase there. But I just felt like it really didn't have any like it didn't really have any storytelling. It didn't have any like consequences. Actions have consequences kind of thing. Like when you usually book a match like this, where Rich Holland has been running all over WWE NXT, destroying Chase U, and then the leader of Chase U, Andre Chase, comes out, just to looks kind of wimpy, just to kind of look like he deserves to lose, just to lose to Rich Holland at the end of the day. You know, I wanted to see something different. Once again, I was hooked on that Halloween slasher movie storyline where you have Rich Holland, the horror movie slasher, and Andre Chase, the guy who, he's the good guy. People want to back him up. Once when he has those movies, where he has those scenes where in the back music you hear the dun, 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 dun. That where you're like, oh crap, something bad's gonna happen. This guy gonna get his throat cut, dude, straight up. No, that didn't happen. Uh, I wanted to see. I don't know. I just thought this was a match for Chase U to kind of get even with Rich Holland because I feel like now Rich Holland, with his recent dispute with Bully Ray of the Busted Open podcast, and of course, the former WWE Hall of Famer and superstar ECW Hall of Famer. What's the point of him winning? I never really got that. I was like, all right, you're gonna have Rich Holland win. That's cool and all, but it would have been awesome to kind of see, what you kind of saw in the early matches with, Tony D'Angelo and the family taking down Obafemi. But I felt like this would have made more sense, where you kind of have that horror movie slasher, destroy all the friends and family of the hero, which is, of course, Andre Chase in this matter. Then you have, Thea Hale come out, or you have somebody like, Duke Hudson or Riley Osborne to help Andre Chase knock down Rich Holland and put him down for good. I didn't really get this match. I overall, probably give it like a 4 out of like 10 stars. I wasn't really hot on this match. I didn't think it was that great. Um, Chase, I felt like once when Rich Holland threw him in the back of the ambulance, he was still seeming like he was like show oh, wait, wait, like he was still showing signs that he still could go. And I don't know about y'all, but like whenever back in the day you saw an ambulance match, these guys really they both the holy crap out of each other until they couldn't even move. They were incapacitated. They threw him in the back of an ambulance match, and then bam, that was it. That was the end of the feud. Bam, right there. But then you saw Andre Chase basically be like, "Hey, dude, I'm actually okay if I can just open this door and come back out. Like we can have a match." Like what I mean? It's just like I don't know. I didn't get it. I didn't think it was that great, but obviously that's just me. Next, we have Fallon Henley is the new WWE NXT Women's North American Champion. Obviously, congratulations to her. She's been trying to kill it ever since she's joined NXT. You had Fatal Influence, choose a gauntlet match. Jasmine Nix was knocked off. JC Jane, but at the end of the day, they did prove dividends. They came back out and dethroned Kaylani Jordan of the NXT Women's North American Championship. She loses it for the first time. She had a pretty good run. Her number one, controversy, her number one, concern was to kind of make this championship be prestigious. And without a doubt, in my mind, I think she did, really well in making this one of the hottest titles in the women's division, and not just NXT but WWE. Congratulations to Kaylani Jordan. Definitely love and respect all she's done for NXT. Definitely think that she did a really good job in representing the title. And it's about time for a different storyline. And I feel like right now was the perfect time. I feel like it's great for Fatal Influence. I feel like it was getting to the point where these girls were ultimately falling off. I felt like these girls were like a glorified version of Pure Fusion Collective of WWE Monday Night Raw with Sonya Deville, Zoe Stark, and Shayna Baszler, where you have all these three talented superstars, who are capable, who are absolutely 1,010% capable of being WWE Women's Champion, and to see them suck, to see them, lose week after week after week. It was about time. It was about time. NXT obviously pulled the trigger faster than Monday Night Raw. And, it was the right move. It was the right move. I feel like it was a good booking. Having Fallon Henry, you saw that emotional backstage, exchange between her and Shawn Michaels. I definitely, love her as a superstar. Definitely think it's great that she, kind of, came up from the shadows and became an NXT champion, women's champion. And it did, and new. WWE Women's North American Champion Fallon. I definitely got to, love and respect throwing flowers here. And, definitely thought it was cool. And of course, something that I did not like, you had Zarya come out basically making these three girls look absolutely weak. Hated it, didn't like it. I was all for the championship match. And as soon as that happened, I was like, all right. To be honest, and I'm not hating on Zarya, or I'm not trying to be like, NXT's like good on superstars, but this women's division is the best. Adding somebody like Zarya, I don't know. I feel like it makes it worse. I'm sorry, but I feel like it makes it like, now you kind of have all these superstars kind of just like, when you have this bottleneck effect where, there's that one thing. Obviously, you have the Women's North American Championship. It's obviously there's not the same thing. But, like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it's, I don't think she should have debuted right away. Maybe they should have put her toward, like, SmackDown or Raw. Seemed like it would have been better. But I don't know. On NXT, I think the women's division was fine. I think they were fine. Obviously, I get it that Shawn, Triple H, WWE, TKO, they want to appeal to more of an international audience. Obviously, she's from Australia. But I don't know, I just felt like it was unnecessary, signing her. But at the end of the day, if it makes NXT Women's Division better, I like it. But if it doesn't, if it's just gonna just bottleneck and just have these superstars, go at it week after week after week, and like it's just making, not making sense having her win the title without like any like storyline behind it, being like, oh, she's the new hottest thing, so let's just give it to her. That sounds perfect. Like if that happened, I'm not for it. But obviously, right now, I feel like WWE creative has a lot of work to do. They have to set up something. They ultimately have to, like, kind of decide what's what in the world of NXT right now. So it should be interesting to find out next. And lastly, we have the NXT World Heavyweight Championship between All Ego Ethan Page and the defending champion Trick Williams in a Devil's Playground match. Not really much to say about this match. I thought overall it was, I liked it. I thought it was cool. It was exactly what, I hated it that Trick Williams, yeah, he finally tasted his own blood, but it was through the mouth after a shot with the steel chair, steel steps. And, it wasn't really authentic. I thought ultimately it was kind of misleading in the world of professional wrestling. Once again, obviously my take, I know that I'm an attitude era kind of guy. And I did feel like Ethan Page was kind of sold short in this match because, to be honest, between the two, he has endured a way longer, tumultuous, struggle than Trick Williams have ever had in his career. You have these WWE talents from NXT, be coddled and to be like, hey, yeah, you're gonna make your way up to the WWE. Ethan Page was all over the independent wrestling circuit, landed on TNA, all of the wrestling. He had endured so much bull crap just to, eventually wind up on WWE. So, I love that Trick Williams. No, I don't even know. I got to be honest. I love Trick Williams, but I don't necessarily know if that was the right move for him to win. Honestly, I feel like Obafemi and Ethan Page probably will start making their way up to WWE Monday Night Raw. I doubt on SmackDown because on SmackDown you have this Bloodline storyline where you're gonna have everybody from the Fatus, from the Mayaveas, also the Usos, kind of make their way up to that storyline. So I feel like they ultimately don't need any more push there, any more star power in that. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to our third segment. Now we're going to talk about our fourth segment. We have our TNA Bound for Glory analysis. We're going to try to get through this in a timely manner. I got my boy Emran with the GSMC Soccer Podcast starting in about 26 minutes. So we're going to try to get through this. But grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and we'll be here after this commercial break. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, and we are back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Here to talk about everything in the world of professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside the ring, backstage curtain drama, inactive statuses and injury updates from superstars. We talk about, their contract negotiations, extensions, and of course, new signings in terms of promotions. We talk about WWE, AEW, GCW, TNA, Ring of Honor, the CMLF makes major news in the world of professional wrestling. We talk about it here on this show, 1010%. So just kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick. We had our WWE Friday Night Smackdown review, our WWE Monday Night Raw preview, and now we're going to talk, we talked about NXT Halloween Havoc review as well. And now we're going to talk about our TNA Bound for Glory analysis. All right, so let's go in and dig on into it. All right, let me bring up that crap. All right, bam. TNA Bound for Glory is like the WrestleMania of WWE. There's not really much to say about that. I remember watching TNA in like 2006. I was just a wee little one. Just kidding. No, it was cool. The thing that I love the most about professional wrestling growing up is just that overall authentic kind of like value to it. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel like TNA did such a great job of kind of being that new innovative, wrestling style that people were like, you know what, if I don't have, or if I'm not getting what I'm satisfied from WWE, I'm gonna go to TNA. And where Bound for Glory ultimately kind of came from was that TNA, they've had a bunch of, they had a bunch of wrestling talents. You had a bunch, you have a handful of premium live events. I don't want to say a bunch of premium live events, but TNA was just trying to, make a name for itself. And then, it started off decent, then it got hotter, then it got really, really hot. You had stars like, Bully Ray, Kurt Angle, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Jay Lethal, You had Jeff Jarrett. You had all this. Jim Cornette was even on it, and I think even Ric Flair, Mick Foley, the Monster Abyss. You had all these people that were absolutely hot on TNA back in like their glory days. But obviously now kind of centering around this new collaboration between NXT and TNA, which was talked about with Scott D'Amore from I think he was formerly employed by TNA. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. But but let's just go ahead and jump on into some Bound for Glory. All right, first and foremost, we saw Ash and Heather Elegance defeat Brinley Reese and Zaya Brooks. I definitely, it's kind of cool to see women stars from NXT shine somewhere else. But it's also good to kind of see TNA stars defeat NXT stars. Be like, hey, like, just because you all come over from TNA or from NXT doesn't necessarily mean that you guys have an easy task ahead of you. So, Brinley Reese, obviously, if the future of WWE NXT Ash by Elegance is finally going to be able to kind of find a fair shot at the Knockouts World Championship. Going up against Master Slamovich. I know that TNA. Well, I know in every single wrestling aspect, in terms of once when you kind of finally have the longest reigning champion dethroned, now you kind of think to yourself, you're like, all right, now we're going to kind of have a little bit of fun with it. Find out which champion is best marketable, which champion is, the best to kind of be, on a daily to daily basis as the champion. And I gotta be honest, I love Ash by Elegance. I feel like she's going to be the next TNA Knockouts champion. But of course, Jordan Grace might have her rematch clause. She might invoke it, or she makes her way to WWE NXT. But NXT in the women's division is getting so hot, it's crazy. I feel like that's the reason why you're kind of seeing talents like, oh my God, who was that girl? No, wrong. Uh, like Brinley Reese, of course, Carmen Petrovich, Ariana Grace, and there's just a lot of possibility that can happen from TNA and NXT, moving forward. So, definitely hoping for the best. Next, we have Rhino, ECW legend Rhino will be inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame. Obviously he thanked ECW personnel from Tommy Dreamer to absolutely anyone in ECW, Paul Heyman. He thanked Triple H, Jim Ross, and also Pat Patterson. And obviously gotta throw some flowers to my man Rhino. Definitely love, respect. I love seeing the gore. The gore! I remember Paul Heyman shouting, or Joey Styles be like, gore! Like, I thought, Rhino was definitely one of the best wrestlers that came out of ECW. Obviously, during the WWE, WCW, ECW invasion angle, he was the first ever, superstar outside of the WWF/WWE to win gold. He was the hardcore champion. Obviously, the hardcore championship isn't really like the greatest goal in the world, but he did it. He did it, and it was badass. It was cool. I thought it was awesome. So 1,010% paying my respects to my boy Rhino. And we have a Call Your Shot Gauntlet match. We saw contenders going face to face. We saw tag team partners going at each other. We had, people like ABC. We had people like, Zachary Wentz. And, and then at the end of the day, you saw Frankie Kaz Kazarian win this match, invoking his title shot wherever he wants, whenever he wants. And, I thought this was setting something up to the main event. I got to be honest. I was like, oh, shoot. We're going to see, Kazarian become, TNA World Champion. But obviously, we're going to move on and we're going to talk about that. Sorry, excuse me. In a little bit. We saw Mike Bailey retain the X Division Championship title against El Hijo del Vikingo. You saw Bailey. He's undefeated within the last 5 months. I think that's pretty. I ultimately think that's I love that. I think that's badass. I was a huge fan of Speedball Mountain, and as soon as Mike Bailey was like, you know what, screw it, dude. I'm going to fight for the X Division Championship. I was like, no way. I thought, I love Mike Bailey. I do. I've become I've become a TNA fan, and well, once again, because I feel like ultimately TNA broke my heart. But I'm just kidding. No, but Mike Bailey, My God. One of the best. One of the best to ever do it. X Division champion. I love it. Besides Mustafa Ali, don't really know where that bro is right now. But overall, Mike Bailey, he deserves it. He really honestly deserves it. No one really could have a match with him to the point where you're like, I can't really, I can't, I can't not root for Mike Bailey. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But I think it's pretty cool. Next, you see Spitfire retain their TNA Knockouts for Tag Team Championships against Wendy Chu and Rosemary, which is I love Spitfire. Once when they lost their championships. They're trying to get it back from Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich. I was like, damn, it's about time that these girls actually, live up to their potential. And then now you kind of have, Wendy Chu from NXT, kind of put Tatum Paxley in, like a casket kind of barrel, and they're actually going to have a casket match on Tuesday. That should be, pretty interesting. Should be pretty badass. Can't wait to watch that. And then, Rosemary from TNA, Spitfire's just on fire. Spitfire is just on fire. I like that rhyme. Um, it's great. It's great. TNA, don't mess with it. They were champions once again. You messed, once before, you messed with it, and then it didn't really make sense. So just don't do it. Just don't do it. Let these girls have their run. Let these girls, have their glory. Throw some flowers. These girls are really marketable. They're amazing superstars. If you've seen their chemistry inside the ring, it's unfathomable. I think it's great. I feel like these girls are gonna have a really hot run, from Jody Threat and Denny Luna. So it's pretty badass. Obviously hope the best for him. Next we have Josh Alexander defeating Steve Macklin. It took a cheap low blow by Josh Alexander. Obviously, you had Steve Macklin showing signs that he's ready to kind of move up, showing signs that, hey, like I could defeat somebody like Josh Alexander. But then once when the referee was down, you had this sick scumbag. I'm just kidding. No, moving on. Uh, you had Josh Alexander did what basically he does best is do anything he can to become the winner. I got a chat from Caden Hardgrave. Hi, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great weekend. Thank you for joining us on the GSMC Wrestling Lord podcast on this beautiful Monday night. I'm over here in Southern California, and for the first time in forever, I'm just kidding. No, I have kids, guys. I have kids. Hear all the, I hear all the what is it? The Frozen, the Beauty and the Beast, the Moana. For the first time in forever, we're actually getting cold here in Southern California, guys, on the West Coast. So, pray for us. I'm just kidding. No, when it hits like 60 degrees, we're like, oh my God. And everybody, all of my friends in Chicago or, Colorado is like, you know what, dude, we got snow. We're like 10 degrees and it's so cold. I'm like, man, why you guys being such girls? I'm just kidding. No, but thank you, Caden. And, hopefully you're having a great night. But, yeah, we had, Josh Alexander defeat Steve Macklin and by a low blow, man. That's not cool. That's not cool. All right, we got the French Canadian Frankenstein. We got PCO taking on Matt Cardona, able to successfully retain his TNA Digital Media Championship and International Championship. I thought it was great. You saw Cardona, interrupt PCO's wedding with Stephanie Lander. And, I thought it was great. I thought it was great. There was blood. You saw Cardona feed PCO a bunch of thumbtacks inside his mouth. It's kind of cool. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of cool. I love the fact that, you kind of have that hardcore feeling in terms of professional wrestling, in terms of TNA. I didn't really want to see Matt Cardona come out victorious, and I got to be honest. I love Matt Cardona. But the moment you kind of step in, PCO fought so hard. He was never really kind of broadcasted as like a main event or like a glorified like mid Carter. So kind of having something like a little ambiguous happen in the world of professional wrestling it's good. It's good. I was kind of fearing that TNA was like, all right, let's go total mainstream and have this, returning. And no, I'm not hating on Matt Cardona. I'm not. I'm not hating on Matt Cardona. I think he's a badass, but like he's kind of like that mainstream kind of championship, kind of has that mainstream kind of look, you know. That high school popular guy. Like I know he wants to escape his overall, modus apparatus of Zack Ryder, but he just seems like he's that guy. He's that rah rah kind of guy. He's that woo woo woo. I don't know. I don't know. But maybe that's my perspective. Maybe that's my bias of, Matt Cardona. Kid and hard gravy. My kids love Frozen too. At this point, I think it's unavoidable. I got to be honest. As a Disney dad, I love, you got to sing. Sometimes I find myself singing Aladdin. You know what I mean? I find myself singing like the Moana songs. It's just and it just brings a smile to my face because I'm just like that's I think of my kids and I think they're smiling face and it's just like damn that's pretty cool. That's what life's all about is being there for your kids, loving them. Because at the end of the day, you never really promise tomorrow, so you're like what I'm gonna be a freaking dork. I'm gonna be a freaking dork. I'm gonna sing Disney songs, and as much as my kids are like, "Oh my God, you're embarrassing," but like, you know what? And the seat. I'm just kidding. No, but no, I think I don't know. I just think that's just life, and it's pretty awesome. All right, so next we're gonna have Mike Santana defeats Moose. In TNA, I gotta be honest, I like this match. I was ultimately fearing that the Systems Moose would win this match. I thought it was terrible. I did not want to see this match booked, but TNA Creative was smart about this. You had Mike Santa come out and defended. I thought it was great. Every angle that Moose tried cheating to win this match, Mike Santana was like, no, guess what, dude? No. Finally, at the end of the day, you kind of see him establish himself as a main eventer inside, the TNA Impact zone. So definitely love that. I thought it was great. Finally, you see Jordan Grace, the TNA Knockouts World Champion, be dethroned by Masha Slamovich. It was insane. It was crazy. I gotta be honest, I did not want to shed a tear. I was like, damn, you know, um, it was kind of like, Jordan Grace was, she hugged her. You had probably the two best wrestlers in the women's division in TNA. You know, it was very emotional. It was very emotional. These two girls with the most utmost respect for each other, hugging it out. And Jordan Grace was to the point where she was unbeatable. Masha Slamovich, she suffered her first loss. She was on an undefeated streak as well, with Jordan Grace retaining her championship. And it was just, it was nice. It was cool. It was lovely. Definitely Jordan Grace has been on TNA Impact night in, night out, week after week after week after week, defending her title, being a fighting champion. If anybody deserves some time off, it's got to be this girl. I want to see, Jordan Grace get like a 3 month paid vacation. This girl deserves it. And having somebody like Masha Slamovich come in, obviously both of the superstars have a lot of respect for each other. And, it was just perfect. It was the right time. It was just about the right time. And in the main event, well, not in the main event, but basically what I thought should have been the main event. We had Nick Nemeth defeat Joe Hendry. Of course, you saw Frankie Kazarian, the special guest referee, freaking hated it. Did not like how this all played out. I was, totally opposed for Frankie Kazarian coming in as the main event. Special guest referee. I thought it was terrible. I thought it was stupid. You kind of have these two out of the world superstars, kind of like at this WrestleMania that is TNA. Bound for Glory. And it was terrible. JBL came out. He attacked Kazarian. He actually, clothesline from hell, Joe Hendry, and actually knocked out Ryan Nemeth as well. You didn't see Nick Nemeth kind of pick up this, ultimate, kind of, he didn't see it happen. So maybe something might be addressed in the future. Maybe like a JBL challenging Nick Nemeth in the future for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. That'd be pretty badass. And of course, at the end of the day, you saw the Hardys, become new TNA Tag Team Champions. It was a nice, happy closing to the show. I thought it was, a nice little cherry on top. So, yeah, I thought it was pretty awesome. 1,010%. All right, guys. So, hey, do not go anywhere. We're going to move on to our fifth and final segment. I'm going to wrap this up really, really quick. I have about like 6 minutes. I apologize. I don't mean to, cut any segments short. Sometimes it's just hard to cut some things to like, but I don't know. We're going to talk about it when we return. We're going to talk about Samantha Irving. Essentially wanted something different inside WWE. We're going to talk about that when we return. So, hey, do not go anywhere. All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Here to talk about everything in the world of professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, all the backstage curtain calls, the rumors, the drama. We talk about superstar news, talk about inactive statuses, injury updates. We also talk about, contract signings, negotiations, extensions. We talk about promotions from WWE to the CMLL to AEW to Ring of Honor to TNA to the GCW for makes major news in the world of professional wrestling. We talk about it here on this show, 1,010%. 10%. So make sure you guys tune in on the GSMC Sports Network. We only rapidly have a limited amount of time, and I apologize to you guys. Definitely love to make sure that we get all of our stuff in here, but it looks like we're going to be cut a little bit short today. Apologies. All right, so let's go ahead and kind of rapidly do this. We have Samantha Irving basically disliked her role inside WWE as an announcer. She recently said on social media, on her major social media platforms, saying that she wasn't really into it, saying that she was ultimately hoping that it would kind of stem to something bigger, something better. Is this a stab at WWE? For me personally, I don't think so. I think it's just like some girl, or, obviously not some girl, but just somebody being like, hey, like I had this role at work and I just kind of thought something was going to happen, or I thought something was going to stem out of it. Ultimately, maybe she did feel like she was stuck. She was amazing. She was great at her job. That's why a lot of wrestling news media, that's why a lot of wrestling fans are like, seeming that she might be like, maybe like a little ungrateful, being like, hey, like I was able to be a ring announcer. I was able to ultimately project my career to being like a overnight sensation, which she was. Which she was. She was at the height of her career, and then she left Monday Night Raw. Well, I feel like before she left Monday Night Raw, it was kind of, I feel like she's been dropping hints. I feel like she's been dropping hints for quite some time. And I feel like also WWE was kind of dropping hints as well. It's kind of crazy. She departed from WWE. She said, and I quote, she doesn't like announcing. She also said, and I quote, I'm serious. Announcing was only supposed to be my way in. I wanted to manage. WWE saw no other future for me. I love watching the action, but I don't love being an announcer. Dave Meltzer of WW, of course, the Wrestling Observer, he said that, she's going to pursue her career in music, it could happen. It could happen in terms of wrestling. This is an entertainment kind of world, and although, Samantha Irving felt like she never really wanted to become, well, not never. I feel like since she wasn't really keen or wasn't really being, acceptable about being a Raw announcer, she was destined for bigger and better things. And that's something that I feel like a lot of wrestling fans and like objectors or criticizers are kind of seeing past here. Like this girl literally went from being in the entertainment industry. She was in America's Got Talent. She was in. Her main priority was becoming like a singer, an actress, an artist, and stuff like that. And it was like, you know what? At the end of the day, some people, you take a job whenever it kind of spits on your shoes. You're like, I don't want to do this, but until something more comes along the lines, hey, dude, I'll take it. I'll take it 1,010%. So that's something that I feel like a lot of people shouldn't fault Samantha Irving on because, at the end of the day, dude, if you were stuck in that position, you would have done it too. It's not like, she was doing WWE dirty or wrestling fans dirty in that, in any way, shape, or form. I thought it was, kind of crazy. A lot of people still think that it's because of Ricochet. Dude, it's not because of Ricochet. Like, stop. It wasn't because of my man Ricochet. Ricochet was definitely a blunder by WWE. And, she even said it was kind of funny how, she said that a lot of people. Wait, what was the exact quote? I can't find it right now. But she basically said that it wasn't about Ricochet leaving WWE. Did WWE really did good bookings for him like AEW is? No, they haven't. Not at all. They messed up. They dropped the ball in terms of Ricochet. So by all means, if this power couple wants to be like, hey, dude, honestly, WWE for both of us, mm, didn't really live up to our full potential, and that's okay. And that's not really something that should be, kind of scrutinized or anything like that. Like I said before, with the fiance Ricochet's ties to Tony Khan, with Ted Turner, with TBS, TNT, CNN, with this new HBO Max deal, you can have Fox Sports, Mexico, Jacksonville Jaguars in the NFL. And it's just kind of crazy how fans still continue to be like, oh, Samantha was, too, she just wasn't ready for half of the take down to be part of WWE, but I don't know. It's just kind of crazy. All right, guys. So, rapidly running. I have ran out of time. I apologize. 1,010%. Thank you so much for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Lord podcast. Join me here Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time on the GSMC Sports Network. Talk about wrestling. I got my boy Emran's GSMC Soccer podcast. Find out all the hottest breaking news in the world of professional soccer. Definitely, passionate podcaster. Definitely love his show. Watched it a couple times. I guarantee if you're not a soccer fan, I guarantee you after the show, you will be a soccer fan. And if you are a soccer fan, enjoy the show. Well, I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, bidding you farewell on this beautiful Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. Stay beautiful. And as always, love you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't